Hello, fellas and ladies. Hello, freaks as well. How are you today? Freaks are eating because our boy Yorgos Lanthimos is back. Talking about BUGONIA today, the latest Lanthimos feast. Once again, reteaming with Emma Stone. It looks like he's found another confidant, if you will, in Jesse Plemons. Because he also did Kinds of Kindness, and I guess it worked. And this one is a chamber comedy where Jesse Plemons and his cousin are conspiracy theorists who kidnap a pharmaceutical CEO. Played by Emma Stone, as Jesse Plemons' character is under the impression that she's an alien hell-bent on destroying the world. And I really like this movie a lot. Borderline loved it. Maybe I just did love it. Who knows? What I love about this movie is that it doesn't take easy shots at either of their subjects that are very easy to judge. I think both Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons are pretty hard to root for. I wouldn't call them inherently unlikable, but they are pretty hard to root for. They definitely do some very questionable stuff throughout. But the movie doesn't look at them at a judgmental angle. It's more of an angle of getting to the root of, at the very least, Jesse Plemons' character. I think his character is very, obviously, someone who it's easy for us to kind of look at them and go, how are they this way? But the movie actually wants to look at the brain of a conspiracy theorist and why he would believe something outlandish. You kind of just see him so, steadfast and unwilling to accept another narrative outside of, Emma Stone being an alien. And you kind of do understand where he's coming from. You see, maybe if you don't agree, you kind of see the angle. You see, the rabbit hole he's dug for himself. Like I said, the movie's a chamber comedy. The movie really mostly takes place in either the basement or the house that Jesse Plemons and his cousin live in. I like the angle that they have on both of these characters, that they're both kind of taking advantage of Aiden Dallas's character, who obviously has some form of autism. I love the way this movie looks. Robbie Ryan did the cinematography here. A lot of the movie is these close-up angles on each character and the atmosphere. I love the color tone of this movie. Jerskin Fendrix reteams with Yorgos Lanthimos after obviously Poor Things, and I actually really love the score here. It's got clearly a more orchestra score here. I think he did actually work with an orchestra this time, and it feels a lot more grand, and it really helps with the tone here. The tone in general that Yorgos Lanthimos crafted is one, obviously he's very darkly funny, got this very serious dialogue going on. A lot of this movie is just watching Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons kind of out mindfuck each other. A lot of Yorgos Lanthimos' cynicism is very here. It's not as grand a production as something like Poor Things or The Favorite. Like I said, this all takes place in this guy's house. I love the dichotomy of Emma Stone's office and his house, and these two different universes these guys live in. I think if you look at this movie as a class commentary, it's a little okay. There's not much to really grasp onto on a grand level on this movie. I don't think this movie really gets at a deep core. But I do think that when it comes to a commentary on the human experiment and whether or not that's kind of gone wrong, I think there is something very interesting. People on the top are Emma Stone's character, the CEO, this very powerful person has been prophetized and, greedy, presents as well-meaning, but her intentions are all pretty tough. And at the bottom, you have Jesse Plemons' character, radicalized, completely down a rabbit hole of conspiracy. Both well-meaning, but clearly misguided and on a bit of a dark course. There's a semi-hopeful nature to this movie, especially with the ending. That it's because the ending is definitely going to cause discussion, and I think what the ending does actually really made the movie click as really special. Even if I don't think it's particularly a beautiful film, it definitely strives for some form of beauty and poetry. No matter how crazy Jesse Plemons' character is or how misguided he feels, a lot of his intention does come down to hope for humanity and wanting to actually save the world, and you kind of do see why he thinks the cause of all of humanity's downfall is this pharmaceutical company and this CEO. The movie escalates to a very entertaining crescendo. You kind of expect that from Yorgos Lanthimos movie. It kind of just starts pretty high and then just keeps on going up. And it is interesting to see these two different worlds clash with each other and try to get through to each other. You kind of see Jesse Plemons kind of just going come on, just reveal it, we know. Or Emma Stone's trying to tell him, hey, I'm not an alien, but the way she does it is hey, you're radicalized, you've gone insane. And it's well, that's not helping. And I think the movie's very thoughtful, and the writing is very thoughtful in that regard. Because I don't think I would call this movie new, not just for the fact that it's based on a South Korean movie, Save the Green Planet, which I do want to see. I haven't found a way to. But using class to kind of look at again, this idea of the human experiment. Has it gone wrong? Have we lost, or is there still something worth fixing? I can talk about the performances really quickly. Jesse Plemons, I think, is at the height of his power here. I think this is probably his best performance. Jesse Plemons is a real master of subdued extreme, I guess you could say. A lot. He's really good at expressing a lot with a very soft tone of his voice. However, in this film, he is required to get a little more manic, and he does it excellently. He's incredible. He does such an excellent job of humanizing this otherwise kind of crazy man. I also loved Emma Stone's performance. The movie really is anchored around Jesse Plemons. He is the main character of this movie, but it's definitely a two-hander between him and Emma Stone. And Emma Stone is very excellent. She kind of has this air around her that really is intriguing. I loved Aidan Delabus' character. Like I said, Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone are pretty hard to root for. If you're rooting for someone, it is him. He's this guy caught in the middle of it who just is easily persuaded by these two powerful forces around him. I also like Stavros Hayek's character. He has a really interesting deadpan. He's not very particularly important to the plot, but he is definitely a factor. Although there is a thing with him that they introduced that I was like, they didn't need to do that. They didn't need to. There's an implication. I was like, I don't know about that. But overall, Begonia, it's definitely not going to work for everybody. This is a film that really leans into these odd sensibilities. If you're looking for poor things in the favorite, you're not getting it. This is a lot more subdued, even if it goes to extremes. You're still getting that stilted dialogue and odd mannerisms, and the way people talk is just not of this universe. It's just in a little more of a tighter package than something you would expect fans of poor things in the favorite are expecting from Yorgos Lanthimos. But I do think there's something very thoughtful about this movie in its approach to its subject matter. No finger wagging involved at all, and I really appreciate that. And I actually really think I quite loved this film. I loved what it was going for. I loved the concept and how it was executed alongside these excellent performances from Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone. I would say this is definitely a winner for me. I really enjoyed this. Begonia doesn't necessarily make any class commentary that hasn't been made before, but what it lacks in that, it gains in rich thematic depth on the human experiments and how worthwhile it may actually be, despite how futile it looks. And with Yorgos Lanthimos' signature cynicism creating a darkly funny atmosphere with Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone at the helm, it's easy to see this being an unforgettable experience. And I'm going to give Begonia 8.5 bald Emma Stones out of 10. I'm a little shocked to see people still thinking it's getting Best Picture. I guess when you really gather it's non-potential, I guess I could see the picture, but I don't know if I see this movie really making it at the end of the day. I guess it's not impossible. I do see the passion for this movie. I mean, I am one of those people. I think screenplay is on the table. It's very dialogue heavy and dealing with these very high concept genre things. It's not really a tech contender in any way. I don't know if score would happen. Cinematography could, and guess it, but I think in both those cases I need to see the movie popping off before I see that happening. I'm a little shocked to see people think Emma Stone is the one to get in over Jesse Plemons, other than Competition. Competition, I kind of see it. But Plemons, I think, plays a lot more manically and, more over the top in that, Oscar-y way that I think people really appreciate. I actually think Plemons very well could happen. I think Stone doesn't have to happen. I guess she is, kind of a darling at this rate. I don't know. I could see this movie getting goose-egged, to be honest. Maybe screenplay, and maybe Jesse Plemons an actor. I don't know. I don't know if I see a picture. I don't think it's impossible, but I have a feeling the answer's no. All right, that's what I got for Begonia. Like, subscribe, and share. Bye-bye.